Commander Jack Warren stood at the large window of Earth's space station. He rubbed his tired eyes as he looked out at the stars. Humanity had only figured out how to travel faster than light 5 years ago. Other aliens in the galaxy still saw Earth's ships as simple toys. "Commander, we have a problem," said Officer Sam Wells, running into the room. His face was pale. "Our long-range scanners picked up something big, really big." Jack turned away from the window. "Show me." Sam brought up the images on the main screen. At the edge of the solar system, near Neptune, 20 huge ships had appeared. Each one was at least 10 times larger than Earth's biggest ship. Their dark metal bodies reflected no light, making them look like holes in space. "Have they sent any messages?" Jack asked. "Nothing yet, sir. But they're moving toward Earth, slowly but definitely coming our way." Jack picked up the secure phone that connected directly to the United Earth Government headquarters. "This is Commander Warren. Wake up the President. We have visitors." Within hours, every military base on Earth was on high alert. News channels showed the same images over and over, the approaching alien fleet. People filled the streets in major cities, some in panic, others in prayer. At the United Earth headquarters in Geneva, President Lavra Simmons met with her top advisors. Ambassador Lisa Nguyen sat closest to her, reviewing what little information they had about the galaxy beyond their solar system. "We know there are at least 12 major civilizations out there," Lisa said. "From the design of these ships, they most likely belong to the Zoraxian Empire. They control about a third of our galaxy. Are they friendly?" the president asked. Lisa's face was grim. "Unknown. In our limited contact with other species, the Zoraxians were mentioned as ... expansionist." The room fell silent as everyone understood what that meant. "How long until they reach Earth?" President Simmons asked. "At their current speed, 3 days," replied General Frank Powell. "Our entire fleet is mobilizing, but honestly, madam." "President, if those ships are hostile, we don't stand a chance. Their technology must be centuries ahead of ours." The president stood up, her face determined. "Then we try talking first. Ambassador Nguyen, prepare a first contact package. Let's be friendly until given reason not to be." Meanwhile, in a secret facility deep under the Arizona desert, Dr. Alan Prescott worked frantically with his team of scientists and engineers. For the past 10 years, they had been developing Project Thunderbolt, a revolutionary propulsion and weapon system unlike anything humanity had built before. Dr. Prescott was a short man with wild gray hair. He hadn't slept in 2 days. "Connect those circuits carefully," he told his assistant, Kelly Reed. "If the energy flow isn't perfectly balanced, the whole system will fail." Kelly nodded, her hands steady despite the pressure. "Do you think we'll need this soon?" "I hope not," Alan replied. "But I've never believed we were alone in the universe. And I never believed everyone out there would be friendly." His secure phone rang. It was General Patricia Summers, his military contact. "Alan, how close is the prototype to being operational?" she asked without greeting. "We need at least 2 more weeks for final testing," he said. "The inverse quantum field generator works in theory, but we haven't tested it at full power." "You might not have 2 weeks, the general said. "Check the news." Alan turned on the screen just as Earth's first communication with the aliens was broadcast worldwide. Ambassador Lisa Nguyen stood before a special transmission station. Her message was simple and peaceful, explaining that Earth wished to establish friendly relations with the Zoraxian Empire. The reply came 3 hours later. The alien who appeared on screen called himself Grand Admiral Krell. He looked almost human, except for his bluish skin and completely black eyes. "People of Earth," Krell said, his voice translated by computers. "Your planet has been noticed by the glorious Zoraxian Empire. We have watched your development and have decided you are now worthy of joining our domain." Lisa tried to explain that Earth wished to remain independent while establishing trade and cultural exchange. Grand Admiral Krell laughed. "It was not a pleasant sound. Your wishes are irrelevant. Your technology is primitive. Those toys you call ships could not even scratch our smallest vessel." He showed Lisa an image of the Zoraxian fleet. What Earth had detected was just the advance force. Behind them were hundreds more ships. "You have 2 Earth days to prepare for integration," Krell continued. "If you resist, we will demonstrate our power by destroying your moon. That should convince you of the futility of resistance." The transmission ended. In the Arizona facility, Dr. Prescott made a decision. "We're deploying the prototype," he told his team. "No more tests, no more simulations." "But it's not ready," Kelly protested. "The systems aren't fully calibrated." "Then we'll calibrate them on the way," Alan sighed. He called General Summers back. "Patricia, the USS Defiant can be ready in 36 hours. It won't be pretty, but it might be our only chance." The general didn't hesitate. "Do it. I'll send you our best pilot." Captain Ryan Mitchell arrived at the facility the next morning. He was tall and lean, with a reputation as the best pilot in Earth's small space fleet. He stared in wonder at the ship hidden in the underground hangar. The USS Defiant looked nothing like other Earth ships. It was smaller, for one thing, designed for a crew of 12 rather than the usual 100. Its hull was made of a strange, dark material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" Ryan asked. "Our last hope," Alan replied. "The Defiant uses principles of physics that the rest of the galaxy has overlooked. They think certain energy configurations are too unstable or inefficient, but we found a way to make them work." Lieutenant Olivia Daniels joined them. She was the weapons specialist assigned to the mission. "Will it actually fly?" she asked. "Bluntly, in theory, better than anything the Zoraxians have," Alan said. "The inverse quantum field generator allows movement without traditional propulsion. No need to push against anything. The ship simply relocates itself continuously." "And weapons?" Ryan asked. "We have 2 plasma cannons that operate on similar principles. They should bypass standard energy shields completely." "Should?" Olivia raised an eyebrow. "We've never tested them against actual Zoraxian shields," Alan admitted. "But the math checks out." Ryan walked around the ship, taking in its unusual design. Earth had 1 chance, 1 ship, and 1 desperate gamble. "How long until we can launch?" he asked. 24 hours, Alan said. "The rest of your crew is on their way. We'll brief everyone tonight." Ryan nodded, placing his hand on the ship's cool surface. "Then let's make sure she's ready to fly." Above them, beyond Earth's atmosphere, the Zoraxian ships moved into position. Around the planet, Grand Admiral Krell looked down at the blue world with satisfaction. Another primitive civilization to add to the Empire's collection. "They'll surrender," he told his officers. "They always do." The crew of the USS Defiant gathered in the small briefing room of the underground facility. There were 12 of them in total, each chosen for their unique skills. Captain Ryan Mitchell stood at the front, looking at the men and women who would join him on what might be a suicide mission. "I won't lie to you," Ryan said. "Our chances aren't good. The Zoraxians have hundreds of ships, we have 1, but our ship has something they don't expect." He nodded to Dr. Alan Prescott, who stepped forward. Alan looked even more tired than before, with dark circles under his eyes. "The Defiant uses technology that works differently from anything in the galaxy," Alan explained. He pointed to diagrams on the screen behind him. "All other spacefaring races use standard physics, push and pull. Action and reaction. Their ships move by pushing against space itself." He clicked to the next image, showing the Defiant's engine. Our ship doesn't push. It slips. The inverse quantum field generator creates a bubble that lets us move between points in space without crossing the distance between them." Lieutenant Olivia Daniels raised her hand. "In simple terms, Doctor, we teleport continuously. Small jumps, thousands of times per second, but enough to make us nearly impossible to hit," Alan said. Engineer Kevin Blackwell spoke up from the back. "And the weapons?" "The same principle, but reversed," Alan replied. "Our plasma cannons create a field that bypasses regular shields. The Zoraxians will expect our weapons to hit their shields and be stopped. Instead, our shots will appear directly against their hull, The crew exchanged looks. It sounded impossible, but it was their only hope. "Get some rest," Ryan ordered. "We launch in 12 hours. Later that night, Ryan couldn't sleep. He walked through the quiet facility until he found his way back to the hangar. The Defiant waited there, silent and mysterious. He wasn't alone. "Couldn't sleep either?" asked Olivia, who was sitting near the ship. Ryan shook his head. "Too much on my mind. Same here. I keep thinking about my family. My parents in Seattle, my sister in Chicago." Olivia looked up at the ceiling as if she could see through it to the stars above. "Do you think we can actually win this?" "I think we can surprise them," Ryan said carefully. "And sometimes a good surprise is all you need to change the game." They sat in silence for a while, watching as technicians made final adjustments to the ship. "Why did you volunteer?" Ryan asked finally. Olivia smiled slightly. "Same reason as you, I bet. Better to go down fighting than not fight at all." Morning came too quickly. The crew boarded the Defiant while Dr. Prescott gave last-minute instructions. The inside of the ship was cramped but efficient. Every system had backups, and those backups had backups. "The plasma cannons will only get one full power shot each before they need to recharge," Alan warned Ryan. "Use them wisely." "How long to recharge?" Ryan asked. "About 20 minutes. During that time, you'll only have basic defensive capabilities." Ryan nodded. "We'll make those shots count." President Lavra Simmons appeared on the communication screen. Her face was solemn. "Captain Mitchell, you and your crew represent Earth's last hope. The Zoraxians have moved their fleet into position around our planet. They expect our answer in 3 hours. I've been advised to surrender, and will you?" Ryan asked. "Not yet," she replied. "We're stalling for time, telling them we need to gather all world leaders for a formal response. That should give you the window you need to launch," Ryan saluted. "We won't let you down, Madam President." The pre-launch sequence began. The Defiant systems hummed to life. On the bridge, Ryan took his seat in the captain's chair. Olivia manned the weapons station while Kevin monitored the engines. "Inverse quantum field generator is online," Kevin reported. "Power levels at 95% and holding steady." "Weapon systems ready," Olivia added. "Both plasma cannons charged." Ryan took a deep breath. "Stealth systems?" "Active," replied Lieutenant Diane Foster from the science station. "As long as we don't use the main engines or weapons, they shouldn't be able to detect us." Above them, the massive hangar doors began to slide open, revealing the night sky. "This is it," Ryan said. "Our mission is simple. Get close to their fleet without being detected. Target their flagship. Show them we're not as helpless as they think." The Defiant rose silently from its underground home. Unlike conventional ships, it made no sound and left no trail. The quantum field generator moved it effortlessly against Earth's gravity. "Exiting atmosphere in 30 seconds, Diane reported. On the main screen, they could see Earth below them, beautiful and blue. And ahead, the dark shapes of the Zoraxian fleet waiting in orbit. "There are so many of them," Kevin whispered. Indeed, the Zoraxian ships formed a wall around Earth. The smallest was 10 times the size of the Defiant. The largest, the flagship, was like a floating city in space. "Stealth systems holding," Diane said. "They don't see us." Ryan guided the ship carefully toward the fleet. The Defiant's controls responded to the lightest touch, moving exactly as he directed. It was unlike any ship he had ever flown. "Communications from Earth," Olivia reported. "The President is addressing the Zoraxians now." On a secondary screen, they could see President Simmons speaking to Grand Admiral Krell. She was asking for more time, explaining Earth's complex government systems. Krell was growing impatient. "You have 1 hour more. Then we will demonstrate our power." "He's going to attack the moon," Diane said, checking her instruments. "Energy buildup in their main weapons." Ryan made a decision. "Change of plans. We're not waiting. If they destroy the moon, the effects on Earth would be catastrophic." "What's the new plan?" Olivia asked. "We hit them first," Ryan said. "Target the flagship's main weapon array." The Defiant slipped silently between the massive Zoraxian ships. None of their sensors detected the small Earth vessel. They were focused on the moon, preparing for their demonstration of power. In position, Ryan announced. Weapons range in 10 seconds. Kevin checked the engine readings. Quantum field stable. We're still invisible to them. 5 seconds, Olivia counted down, her finger hovering over the firing control. 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire, Ryan ordered. The first plasma cannon discharged. There was no visible beam, no dramatic light show, just a silent pulse as the quantum field transported superheated plasma directly against the flagship's weapon array. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a section of the massive ship exploded outward in a shower of metal and fire. Alarms blared across the Zoraxian fleet. On the communication channel, they could hear Grand Admiral Krell shouting in confusion. What happened? Where did that come from? Find the source. Stealth compromised, Diane reported calmly. They know something hit them, but they don't know what or where we are yet, Ryan smiled grimly. Let's introduce ourselves properly. He opened a channel to the Zoraxian flagship. This is Captain Ryan Mitchell of Earth. That was just a warning. Shot, Admiral Krell. The next one goes through your bridge unless you withdraw your fleet immediately. The response was immediate. One primitive ship? Krell sounded more amused than worried. You've managed one lucky shot? You won't get another. As if to emphasize his point, the space around the Defiant lit up with energy beams as every nearby Zoraxian ship opened fire. But they were firing at where the Defiant had been. The Earthship was already moving, slipping through space faster than the Zoraxians could track. Phase 1 complete, Ryan said to his crew. Now the real fight begins. The Defiant danced through space as energy beams from the Zoraxian ships cut through the emptiness around them. Captain Ryan Mitchell's hands moved steadily over the controls, guiding the small Earth vessel between the massive alien warships. They're firing blind, Olivia reported from the weapons station. Their targeting systems can't lock onto us. On the main screen, they could see the confusion in the Zoraxian fleet. Some ships were firing in all directions. Others had stopped firing, afraid of hitting their own vessels. Damage report on their flagship? Ryan asked. Diane checked her readings. Their main weapon array is completely disabled. They can still fire, but not at full power. Ryan allowed himself a small smile. The Defiant's first strike had been perfect, but they were far from winning this battle. Kevin, how's our quantum field holding up? He asked. Engineer Kevin Blackwell frowned at his console. The continuous jumps are using more power than we expected. We can maintain this pace for about 30 more minutes before we need to reduce speed. And our second plasma cannon is still charged? Ryan confirmed with Olivia. She nodded. Ready to fire on your command. But remember, once we use it, we'll be down to basic defenses for 20 minutes while both cannons recharge. Ryan considered their options. The Zoraxians had hundreds of ships surrounding Earth. The Defiant had damaged one. It wasn't enough to force them to retreat. We need to show them we're not just lucky, Ryan decided. Diane, identify their command and control center. It should be the ship receiving the most communications from the others. Diane worked quickly. Got it. It's not the flagship. It's that smaller vessel about 5 kilometers to our starboard. It seems to be coordinating the fleet's movements. That's our next target, Ryan said. Olivia, prepare the second cannon. The Defiant slipped between enemy ships, moving in an unpredictable pattern. The Zoraxians were becoming more organized, trying to create a net of energy fire that would catch the Earthship no matter where it moved. They're learning, Kevin warned. Their firing pattern is getting smarter. A near miss rocked the Defiant, the energy beam passing close enough to interfere with their field. Field stability at 87%, Kevin reported. That was too close. Ryan adjusted their course, diving down relative to the plane of the fleet. The Zoraxian ships followed, but more slowly, their massive size making them less maneuverable. Almost in position, Ryan said as they approached the command ship. Olivia, target their main communication array. Targeted, she confirmed. Ready? To fire, Another energy beam from a Zoraxian ship passed nearby, causing the lights on the Defiant to flicker. "Field at 82%, Kevin called out. "We can't take many more near misses like that." "Fire now," Ryan ordered. The second plasma cannon discharged. Like the first shot, there was no visible beam, just the silent transfer of destructive energy directly to the target. The command ship's communication array exploded, sending debris flying into space. "Direct hit," Olivia exclaimed. Immediately, they could see the effect on the Zoraxian fleet. Ships that had been moving in coordination suddenly seemed confused, some stopping in place, others continuing on their previous course and nearly colliding. "Their command network is disrupted," Diane reported. "They're switching to backup systems, but it will take them a few minutes to reorganize." "Both plasma cannons now depleted," Olivia added. 20 minutes until they're recharged. Ryan knew this was their most vulnerable time. "Kevin, divert all available power to the quantum field. We need to stay invisible as long as possible." "Doing my best," Kevin replied, his fingers flying over the controls. "But the field generator is running hot. We weren't able to install all the cooling systems before launch." On their communication channel, they could hear Grand Admiral Krell shouting orders to his fleet. "Find that Earth ship. It must be using some kind of cloaking technology. Sweep all frequencies." "They cannot hide forever," Ryan turned to his crew. "We've surprised them twice now, but they're adapting. We need a new strategy." "What if we don't hide?" suggested Diane. "What if we show ourselves deliberately?" "That's suicide," Kevin objected. "Not necessarily," Diane continued. "Their ships are so big that they have minimum safe distances from each other. If we fly between them and become visible, they might fire at us and hit each other," Ryan finished, understanding her plan. "It's risky, but it might work." Ryan adjusted their course, heading toward a cluster of Zoraxian ships that were searching for them. "Dropping the quantum field in 5 seconds, he announced. "Everyone hold on. This is going to get rough." The Defiant suddenly appeared in the middle of 4 Zoraxian warships. For a moment, there was no reaction as the alien vessels registered the tiny Earthship in their midst. "Initiating evasive pattern Delta," Ryan said calmly as he sent the Defiant into a series of tight turns and spins. The Zoraxian ships opened fire. But the Defiant was moving too quickly, too erratically. Several energy beams meant for the Earthship struck other Zoraxian vessels instead. "It's working," Olivia reported as one of the alien ships suffered significant damage from friendly fire. But the Zoraxians were quick learners. After the initial confusion, they adjusted their firing patterns, becoming more careful with their shots. "They're coordinating again," Diane warned. "The backup command system must be online." A glancing hit rocked the Defiant, sending warning lights flashing across all stations. "Port shield down to 40%, Kevin reported. "One more direct hit and we'll lose it completely." Ryan pushed the ship harder, demanding more speed, more maneuverability. The Defiant responded, but he could feel the strain in the controls. "How much longer until the plasma cannons are recharged?" he asked. 12 more minutes, Olivia replied. "We need to stay alive until then." Another hit, this one more direct. The bridge lights flickered and went out for a moment before emergency. Power kicked in. "Starboard shield critical," Kevin called out, his voice steady despite the danger. "Engine 3 is offline." "The quantum field generator is overheating," Ryan made a split-second decision. "We can't outrun them anymore. We need to hide." He looked at the display of Earth below them. "Take us into the atmosphere." "We'll use the planet for cover." The Defiant plunged toward Earth, with several Zoraxian ships in pursuit. As they hit the upper atmosphere, the ship began to shake. "We're not designed for atmospheric flight," Kevin warned. "Not at these speeds. We don't have a choice," Ryan replied. "Diane, find us somewhere to hide. Somewhere the Zoraxians won't expect." Diane scanned the planet below. "There's a hurricane forming in the Pacific Ocean. The storm clouds might mask our energy signature." "Perfect," Ryan said, adjusting their course. "They won't want to follow us into that." The Defiant dove into the swirling clouds of the massive storm. Lightning flashed around them as rain and wind battered the ship. But Ryan held steady, guiding them deeper into the hurricane's eye. Behind them, the Zoraxian ships hesitated at the edge of the storm. Their massive size made them vulnerable to the powerful winds. "They are holding position above the hurricane," Diane reported. "They're scanning for us, but the storm is interfering with their sensors." "Good," Ryan said. "Now we wait." "How long until the plasma cannons are ready?" 8 more minutes, Olivia," replied. Ryan nodded. "Then we have 8 minutes to come up with our next move. Because when we leave this storm, the real battle begins." Inside the eye of the hurricane, the USS Defiant hovered as rain and wind swirled around it. The crew worked quickly to repair what damage they could. In the engine room, Kevin Blackwell used emergency coolant to bring down the temperature of the overheating quantum field generator. "How are the repairs coming?" Ryan asked over the intercom. "The good news is I've stabilized the field generator," Kevin replied. "The bad news is it won't last long at full power. Maybe 15 minutes more before we risk permanent damage." On the bridge, Ryan turned to Diane. "What are the Zoraxians doing?" Diane checked her sensors. 5 ships are still circling above the hurricane. The rest have spread out to form a tighter blockade around Earth. They're sending messages to ground stations again. Ryan switched on the communication system. Grand Admiral Krell's voice filled the bridge. "People of Earth, your pathetic attempt at resistance has been noted. One small ship, while impressive, cannot save you. Surrender now, or we will destroy your major cities one by one." The screen showed images of Zoraxian ships positioning themselves above New York, London, Beijing, and other large cities around the world. "They're bluffing," Olivia said. "We damaged their main weapon array." "They don't need their main weapon to destroy cities," Ryan replied grimly. "Their standard weapons are more than enough." "Plasma cannons are recharged," Olivia reported. "Both at full power." Ryan looked at the tactical display, studying the positions of the Zoraxian ships. There were too many to fight directly. They needed something bigger than just surprise now. "Diane, connect me with Dr. Prescott back at the facility," Ryan ordered. Alan's tired face appeared on the screen. "Captain Mitchell, good to see you're still alive. We've been monitoring the situation as best we can." "Doctor, I need to know something about the Zoraxian ships," Ryan said. "We've noticed they all use the same communication frequency. Is there a way to disrupt all their systems at once?" Alan thought for a moment. "Possibly. Their technology likely uses quantum entanglement for instant communication across distances. If that's the case, they're all connected through a central network. Like a computer network?" Ryan asked. "Exactly," Alan replied. "And like any network, it might be vulnerable to the right kind of signal." "Could we create that signal using our plasma cannons?" Ryan asked. Alan's eyes widened as he understood what Ryan was suggesting. "You want to create a quantum disruption pulse. It's never been tried before, but in theory ... Would it work?" Ryan pressed. "If you target their main communication hub with both plasma cannons simultaneously, the energy might cascade through their entire network," Alan said. "But Captain, reconfiguring the cannons this way would be a one-way trip. The energy feedback would likely destroy the Defiant systems as well." Ryan looked around at his crew. They all understood what that meant. "Can you talk us through the reconfiguration?" Ryan asked. Alan nodded solemnly. "I'll send the instructions to Kevin. It will take about 10 minutes to modify the cannons." As Kevin worked to reconfigure the weapons, Ryan gathered the crew on the bridge. "I won't order any of you to stay for this final mission," he said. "We have one escape pod. It can fit 4 people." The crew exchanged looks, but no one moved toward the escape pod. "We started this together," Olivia said. "We'll finish it together," Ryan nodded, touched by their loyalty. "Then let's make it count." 10 minutes later, Kevin reported that the modifications were complete. Both cannons are now linked. They'll fire as one, creating the quantum disruption pulse. "But our targeting has to be perfect. We only get one shot." "The question is, what do we target?" Diane asked. We already hit their command ship. Ryan studied the sensor readings. There must be a backup command hub. Something we missed. Diane suddenly pointed to the display. Look at the energy readings from the flagship. There's an unusual power source at its center. It doesn't match anything else we've seen on their ships. That's it, Ryan said. That must be their central network hub. All their communications are probably routed through there. How do we get close enough? Olivia asked. The moment we leave this hurricane, they'll be all over us, Ryan smiled. We don't leave the hurricane, we bring the hurricane with us. Using the Defiant's remaining power, they began to manipulate the hurricane, creating a powerful updraft that pushed the massive storm higher into the atmosphere. I don't believe it, Diane said as she watched the sensors. The storm is actually following us. As the Defiant rose, it pulled the hurricane up with it, using Earth's weather as a shield. The Zoraxian ships scattered, unprepared for the massive storm suddenly rising toward space. They're breaking formation, Olivia reported. The storm is confusing their sensors. The Defiant, hidden within the eye of the hurricane, approached the Zoraxian flagship. Lightning from the storm struck several alien ships, causing further confusion. They still can't see us, Diane confirmed. The storm is masking our energy signature. Get us as close as possible to the flagship, Ryan ordered. We need to be right on top of their network hub when we fire. The Defiant pushed higher, the hurricane beginning to dissipate as they reached the edge of Earth's atmosphere. They would soon be visible again. We're in position, Kevin reported. But the quantum field generator is critical. It could fail any second. Targeting their network hub, Olivia said, her fingers steady on the controls, ready to fire on your command. On the communication channel, they could hear Grand Admiral Krell giving orders to his fleet. Something is happening with the storm. All ships, concentrate fire on the hurricane's eye. Whatever they're planning, stop it now. They've spotted us, Diane warned, multiple weapons locking on. Ryan took a deep breath. Fire now. Both plasma cannons discharged at once, their energy combining into a single, powerful pulse. The quantum disruption wave struck the flagship's network hub directly. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, systems across the entire Zoraxian fleet began to fail. Ships lost power, weapons went offline, and shields collapsed. The disruption cascaded from one vessel to another, spreading like a virus through their connected network. On the Defiant, the feedback was immediate. Consoles exploded in showers of sparks. The lights went out, emergency systems failed, and the quantum field generator shut down completely. We did it, Kevin said in the darkness of the bridge. Their entire fleet is disabled. Through the viewport, they could see the Zoraxian ships drifting helplessly in space, their once threatening forms now powerless. But the Defiant was in no better shape. With all systems failing, they began to fall back toward Earth, caught in its gravity pull. Brace for re-entry, Ryan shouted as the ship began to heat up from atmospheric friction. Without power, without shields, the Defiant plummeted toward the planet below. The crew held on as the temperature rose and the hull began to glow red from the heat. Can we survive this? Olivia asked, her voice steady despite their dire situation. Ryan looked at her. We just took down an entire alien fleet with one ship. I'd say anything is possible. As the Defiant fell toward Earth, a single message broadcast from its failing communication system. It reached every radio, television, and computer on the planet. This is Captain Ryan Mitchell of the USS Defiant. The Zoraxian fleet has been neutralized. Earth is safe, remember us. The USS Defiant streaked through Earth's atmosphere like a meteor. Inside the falling ship, Captain Ryan Mitchell and his crew fought to regain some control of their descent. Kevin, can you get any power to the stabilizers? Ryan shouted over the noise of the ship breaking apart around them. In the engine room, Kevin Blackwell worked frantically, connecting emergency batteries directly to the control systems. I'm trying. The quantum field generator is completely fried, but I might get basic thrusters online. Olivia braced herself. Against her console, we're coming in too fast. Impact in 2 minutes. Ryan looked out the viewport. They were heading toward the Pacific Ocean, which was slightly better than crashing on land. But without some way to slow down, they wouldn't. Survive the impact. Everyone, get to the central chamber, Ryan ordered. It's the most reinforced part of the ship. The crew scrambled to the small room at the Defiant's core as the ship continued its deadly plunge. Metal tore away from the outer hull as the heat and pressure increased. I've got partial power to the emergency thrusters, Kevin called out as he joined the others. It's not much, but it might soften our landing. Ryan activated the thrusters. The ship shuddered as they fired, slowing their descent slightly. But it wasn't enough. Brace for impact, Ryan shouted as the ocean rushed up to meet them. The Defiant hit the water at high speed, skipping across the surface like a stone before plunging beneath the waves. The reinforced central chamber protected the crew from the worst of the impact, but water began to seep in through damaged seals. Is everyone okay? Ryan asked, looking around at his battered crew. There were cuts and bruises, but everyone was alive. The Defiant, however, was sinking fast. Emergency beacon activated, Diane reported, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. If anyone's looking for us, they'll find us. Let's hope they find us before we reach the bottom of the ocean, Olivia said, helping Kevin patch a leaking seal. Above them, on the ocean's surface, the world was responding to the incredible events they had witnessed. The disabled Zeraxian ships drifted in space, powerless and no longer a threat. Some had begun to fall into Earth's atmosphere, breaking apart and burning up like artificial shooting stars. In the United Earth Government headquarters, President Lavra Simmons watched the radar screens with her advisors. The Defiant? She asked General Frank Powell. We've detected a crash in the Pacific, about 500 miles west of Hawaii, he replied. Search and rescue teams are already on the way, but in those waters ... double quotes, the president nodded grimly. Keep looking. Those people just saved our planet. We're not giving up on them. At the secret facility in Arizona, Dr. Alan Prescott hadn't slept in days. He was studying the data from the Defiant's final transmission. The quantum disruption pulse worked better than I could have imagined, he told his assistant Kelly. It completely overloaded the Zeraxians' network. Every ship connected to their system was affected. What about the Defiant? Kelly asked. Alan shook his head. The feedback was massive. I don't see how they could have survived. In the Pacific Ocean, the Defiant continued to sink. The water level inside the central chamber was rising, despite the crew's efforts to stop the leaks. How deep are we? Ryan asked. Diane checked the one working sensor. Almost 1,000 feet and still going down. We're approaching crush depth. Ryan looked at his brave crew. They had accomplished their mission, saved Earth, but it seemed they wouldn't live to see the victory they had won. Suddenly, the Defiant shuddered and stopped sinking. What's happening? Olivia asked. The crew felt the sensation of movement, but they were no longer going down. They were rising. Something's pulling us up, Kevin said in disbelief. As the Defiant was lifted toward the surface, they heard a strange humming sound all around them. When they finally broke the surface, sunlight streamed in through the viewport. Ryan wiped away the condensation to look outside. What he saw made his jaw drop. Surrounding the Defiant were ships unlike any he had seen before. They weren't human vessels, but they weren't Zeraxian either. They were sleek, with flowing lines that seemed almost organic. Who are they? Diane wondered. A voice came through. Their partially functioning communication system. It spoke in perfect English. Crew of Earth vessel, we are the Solarian Alliance. We detected your brave stand against the Zeraxian Empire. We have come to offer assistance. The Defiant was gently lifted from the ocean and placed on the deck of one of the alien ships. When the crew emerged from their damaged vessel, they were met by beings that looked almost human, except for their slightly blue-tinted skin and silver eyes. Captain Mitchell, one of them said, stepping forward. I am Ambassador Alara of the Solarian Alliance. For too long we have watched the Zeraxian Empire expand unchecked. Many worlds have fallen to them. None have successfully resisted until now. Ryan and his crew were taken to the ambassador's ship, where they received medical treatment for their injuries. As they recovered, Ambassador Ilara explained more. The Zoraxians have told the galaxy that Earth was primitive with technology, centuries behind other civilizations. Yet you developed something they never considered possible. The inverse quantum field technology, Ryan said. Ilara nodded. It is an approach no other civilization pursued. The Zoraxians, like many advanced races, become set in their technological paths. They stop looking for alternatives. Your world found one. 2 weeks later, the crew of the Defiant stood in the United Earth Government Hall as heroes. President Simmons awarded them the highest honors Earth could bestow. Through courage and innovation, these 12 individuals have not only saved our planet but have changed our place in the galaxy forever, she announced to the cheering crowd. After the ceremony, Ryan found Dr. Alan Prescott waiting to speak. With him, the Solarians have offered to help us recover the Zoraxian ships, Alan said excitedly. The technology we'll learn from them, combined with our own approach, will advance Earth by centuries. And the Zoraxians? Ryan asked. Will they return? The Solarians say the Empire has been weakened by this defeat. For the first time, other worlds are beginning to resist. What you did has sparked something greater. 6 months later, Earth launched its second quantum field ship, the USS Defiant II, twice the size of the original and with improved systems. It was just the first of a new fleet. Captain Ryan Mitchell stood on the bridge once more, with many of his original crew beside him. On the main screen, Ambassador Ilara smiled at them from her ship. Behind her were vessels from a dozen different worlds, all former victims of the Zoraxian Empire, now allies of Earth. Ready to make our first official diplomatic mission, Captain Mitchell? The ambassador asked. Ryan looked at his crew, then back at the screen. The Zoraxians thought Earth was primitive. They laughed at our technology. They won't make that mistake again. As the Defiant II and its allied ships activated their engines, preparing to journey beyond the solar system, Ryan couldn't help but smile. Earth had not only survived its first contact with an alien empire, but had emerged stronger. And it was just the beginning. Course set for the Solarian homeworld. Ryan announced, "Let's show the galaxy what humans can do."